My girlfriend got pregnant by my twin brother who lived rent-free in my guest room, but she instantly left him when I inherited a $7 million estate. My girlfriend Becca sat me down last Tuesday with tears in her eyes. I need to tell you something. I'm pregnant. For a second, I was happy. We'd been together 3 years. Then she said the rest. It's not yours. It's Jason's. Jason. My twin brother. The one who lived in my guest room rent-free for 6 months. The one whose debts I'd paid off twice. That Jason. I stood up to leave. She grabbed my arm. Wait, please. Let me explain. It just happened. We didn't mean for it. When? When did it just happen? Remember when you went to Denver for that conference in September? You were gone 5 days. 5 days. That's all it took for you to sleep with my brother? It wasn't like that. We were both lonely. He was going through a hard time. He's always going through a hard time. That's his permanent state. October, Jason called me. Becca told you. I'm sorry, man. It just happened. Stop saying it just happened. You made choices. Multiple choices. For 5 days. Actually, it wasn't just those 5 days. What? We've been seeing each other since August. 2 months. They'd been together 2 months while I was paying for dates with Becca, paying Jason's car insurance, letting him eat my food. November, I moved out of the apartment I shared with Becca. She kept it. Jason moved in the next day. They didn't even wait a week. Our mom called me. This is tearing the family apart. You need to forgive them. The baby deserves a family. The baby has a family. Just not one that includes me. Don't be selfish. Think about Jason. He's finally happy. He's happy because he stole my girlfriend. Love can't be stolen. People fall out of love. They fell into bed while I was gone. Same thing. December, my grandmother called. Her 85th birthday was coming up. She wanted the whole family there, including Jason and Becca. They're having my great-grandchild. I need everyone to get along. I'll come. But I'm not speaking to them. Fair enough. Just be civil. The party was at my parents' house. 50 relatives. Jason and Becca arrived late, holding hands, her stomach starting to show. Everyone congratulated them. Such wonderful news. A baby. How exciting. When's the wedding? We're not sure yet, Jason said. Soon, though. Before the baby comes. My grandmother pulled me aside. I need to update my will. Come to the lawyer with me Monday. Just you. Don't tell anyone. Monday, we sat in the lawyer's office. My grandmother had more money than anyone knew. Investments my grandfather made decades ago. Properties all over the state. $7 million total. I'm leaving it all to you. What about Jason? What about your other grandchildren? Jason made his choice. He betrayed his brother. The others have successful careers. You're the only one who stayed loyal, who helped everyone, who never took advantage. The lawyer drew up the papers. She signed them. Told me to keep quiet until she passed. January, Jason lost his job. Called me for help. I need a loan. Just until I get back on my feet. Becca's pregnant. We need money. Ask Mom. She's tapped out from helping me before. You know that. Not my problem. Come on. For the baby. Your nephew. The baby you made while sleeping with my girlfriend? That one? February, Becca called. Jason's useless. He won't get a job. Says he's too stressed about the baby. Can you help us? You wanted him. You got him. But you were with me for 3 years. Doesn't that mean anything? It meant something until you slept with my brother. March, my grandmother's birthday. She announced she was going into hospice. Cancer. 3 months left at most. The family was devastated. She pulled everyone aside one by one, whispered something to each person. When she got to Jason, she said loud enough for me to hear. You get nothing. You know why. Jason looked confused. What? What does that mean? You'll find out. April, my grandmother passed. The funeral was beautiful. Hundreds of people came. Jason and Becca sat in the front row, Becca now 7 months pregnant. Jason kept talking about his inheritance. Grandma loved me. I was her favorite. We had a special bond. The will reading was the next week. The lawyer read through the small bequests first. $1,000 here, $5,000 there. Sentimental items to various relatives. Then the final item. The remainder of my estate, totaling approximately $7 million, goes to my grandson Ronald. Jason jumped up. That's impossible. Check again. There must be another page. The lawyer looked at him. There's no mistake. This will was executed 6 months ago with full mental competency evaluation. Jason pushed back from the table. His chair scraped loud against the floor. You manipulated her. You turned her against me while she was dying. Trent pulled a folder from his briefcase. Your grandmother anticipated this reaction. She left detailed documentation of her reasoning, including dated journal entries spanning 2 years. Jason's face went from white to red. 2 years? She was planning this for 2 years? Trent opened the folder. She documented every instance of financial assistance you requested and failed to repay. Every job you quit without notice. Every family member you took advantage of. And specifically, her observations about your relationship with Becca while she was still with Ronald. My mom grabbed my arm before we even made it to the parking lot. You have to share this with him. He's your brother. Your twin. I pulled my arm free. He's also the guy who slept with my girlfriend in my own apartment. Think about the baby. That baby needs things. Diapers, formula, a crib. Jason can't afford any of it. That's not my problem. My dad stepped between us. Be reasonable, son. You don't need $7 million. You could give Jason half and still have more money than you'd ever spend. It's not about the money. It's about what grandmother wanted. She made her choice. You could do the right thing here. Make this family whole again. The family stopped being whole when Jason betrayed me. But we're asking you to be the bigger person. I got in my car and drove away while they stood in the parking lot watching. My phone started buzzing before I hit the first stoplight. Text after text from Jason. Please, man, I'm begging you. Becca's scared. We have nothing saved. The baby comes in 2 months. I'll pay you back, I swear. Just help us get started. You know I'm good for it. Another text. Remember when we were kids? We shared everything. We're twins. This money should be split between us. Another. Grandma was old. She didn't understand what she was doing. You know she loved me. Another. Fine, be that way. Keep it all. But don't come crying to me when you realize money can't buy you a family. I blocked his number after the 15th message and pulled into my apartment complex. The place was quiet. No Becca. No Jason. No one asking me for anything. I poured myself a whiskey and sat on my couch in the silence. My phone rang 3 days later from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. Ronald? It's me. Becca's voice cracked. I need to talk to you. We don't have anything to talk about. Please just listen. Jason promised me he'd get a job after the baby announcement. He said he was going to step up and be responsible. Has he? No. He plays video games until 3 in the morning. Sleeps until noon. I asked him about job applications, and he says he sent out resumes, but I checked his email, and there's nothing. Not one application. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm scared. The baby's coming in less than 2 months, and we have nothing. No savings, no insurance, no plan. You made your choice. I know. I know I did. And I was wrong. So wrong. But this baby didn't make any choices. Can you help with medical expenses? The delivery alone will be thousands. Ask Jason to get a job. I have. Every single day. He just gets mad and says I'm nagging him. That's still not my problem. I hung up and stared at my phone. Part of me felt bad for her. But a bigger part remembered walking into my apartment that day in November and seeing Jason's stuff already moved into my old bedroom. I called Trent the next morning. Can Jason contest this will? He can try. Anyone can file a contest. But would he win? Extremely unlikely. Your grandmother was very thorough. Trent pulled out a thick file when I met him at his office that afternoon. She started documenting Jason's behavior 2 years ago, right after he borrowed $5,000 from her for a business idea that never materialized. He flipped through pages covered in my grandmother's neat handwriting. July 2021. Jason asked for money again. 3rd time this year. It says his roommate kicked him out, but I called the roommate who said Jason hadn't paid rent in 4 months. August 2021. Jason quit another job. No notice. Just stopped showing up. His manager called me asking if he was okay. September 2021. Ronald called to tell me about Denver, about Becca and Jason. My heart broke for him. Jason has always taken advantage of Ronald's kindness. I kept reading. December 2021. Watched Jason and Becca at Ronald's expense. He paid for everything. Jason contributed nothing. Becca seemed happy with the arrangement. Neither showed any guilt. January 2022. Jason lost his job again. Called Ronald for money. Ronald said no. Good. He's learning. The entries went on for pages. Every loan Jason never repaid. Every promise he broke. Every time he chose the easy path over the responsible one. She saw everything. She saw what I couldn't see because I was too close to it. Your grandmother wanted you to have this. Trent handed me an envelope. She said to give it to you after the will reading. I opened it. Her handwriting again. Ronald, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. I'm sorry I won't be there to see what you do with this gift, but I know you'll use it wisely because that's who you are. You've always been the responsible one, the one who helped others without expecting anything back, the one who stayed loyal even when it hurt you. Jason made his choices. He chose to betray you with Becca. He chose to take advantage of your kindness for years. He chose to live without responsibility or consequences. I will not reward those choices with my money. This inheritance is not just money. It's validation that you were right to feel hurt, right to set boundaries, right to expect better from the people who claim to love you. Don't let anyone guilt you into sharing this. Not your parents, not Jason, not even Becca and that baby. You owe them nothing. Live your life. Be happy. Make me proud. I folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. My eyes were wet, but I wasn't crying. I was relieved. Someone finally saw the truth. 2 weeks later, my mom showed up at my apartment with Jason. I opened the door, and there they both stood. Mom had that look on her face, the one that said she'd rehearsed this whole thing. Jason has something to say to you. Jason cleared his throat. His eyes didn't quite meet mine. I'm sorry. For everything. For Becca. For taking advantage of you. For not being a better brother. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I realize I messed up. Bad. I just want a chance to make things right. Mom watched me with hopeful eyes. See? He's sorry. He's really changed this time. You need to leave. Both of you. Ronald, please. Just hear him out. You showed up at my apartment unannounced. You brought him here to ambush me with an apology you obviously coached him through. That's not respecting my boundaries. That's stomping all over them. But family is supposed to forgive. Family is supposed to not sleep with each other's girlfriends. I closed the door while they were still standing there. Heard Mom's voice through the wood saying we'd try again later. I locked the deadbolt. I found a coffee shop downtown that became my regular spot. Quiet corner table. Good Wi-Fi. Place where nobody knew me or my family drama. That's where I met Valentina. She worked at the investment firm handling my inheritance. We'd had 2 meetings about portfolio diversification and long-term planning. Professional stuff. Then one afternoon she walked into my coffee shop. Recognized me immediately. Asked if she could join me since every other table was taken. We talked for an hour. Not about money. About everything else. Her family. My situation. How messed up families could be. She came from a big Italian family. 8 siblings. Drama everywhere. But she said what my family did wasn't normal family drama. It was abuse disguised as loyalty. That word hit me hard. Abuse. I'd never thought of it that way. But she was right. The guilt trips. The manipulation. The constant pressure to fix Jason's problems while he faced 0 consequences. That wasn't love. That was using me. We started meeting for coffee regularly. Once a week became twice a week became almost daily. She understood complicated family dynamics, but she also had boundaries I'd never learned to set. When her brother asked for money, she said no without guilt. When her mom pushed her to forgive a sister who'd wronged her, she stood firm. Watching her do that made me realize how twisted my normal had become. A month after we started hanging out, I asked her to dinner. Actual dinner, not coffee. She said yes. We went to this Italian place her family loved. The food was amazing. The conversation was better. She asked about my grandmother. I told her everything. The will. The inheritance. How grandmother had seen through Jason when everyone else made excuses for him. Valentina reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Your grandmother gave you permission to stop being everyone's ATM. That's a gift worth more than $7 million. 2 weeks later, Jason called from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. Wish I hadn't. He was yelling before I even said hello. I'm contesting the will. My lawyer says I have a case. Grandma was old. You manipulated her. I hung up. He called back. I blocked the number. Then my dad called. We need to talk about Jason's decision. He's serious about this. It's going to tear the family apart. The family was torn apart when Jason slept with my girlfriend. Not when grandmother left me her money. But if you just settled with him, gave him half, we could avoid all this ugliness. I'm not giving him anything. He made his choices. She made hers. Dad's voice got that disappointed tone. You're being selfish. Jason has a baby coming. He needs help. He needed help not sleeping with my girlfriend. He needed help keeping a job. He needed help being a responsible adult. None of which he wanted. That's not my problem. You're really going to let this go to court? Watch me. I hung up, poured myself a drink, called Valentina. She came over, brought Chinese food. Let me vent for an hour. Then she said something that made me laugh for the first time in days. Your brother is an idiot. He's going to lose and make himself look even worse. How do you know? Because your grandmother was smart. She wouldn't leave that money without protecting it. Trust the process. 3 weeks later, Trent called. I was at work. Stepped into a conference room to take it. I have news. Jason's lawyer contacted me about the will contest. And? There's a letter. Your grandmother left instructions that if Jason challenged the will, a sealed letter should be opened and entered into evidence. What's in it? Everything. Every loan she gave him that he never repaid. Every job he quit. Every time he took advantage of family members, every lie he told. She documented it all for 2 years. She knew he'd do this. She predicted it. Trent sounded almost amused. She wrote that she hoped he'd accept her decision with grace, but she doubted it. So she prepared for exactly this scenario. The letter destroys any case he might have had. Can I see it? I'll send you a copy. You should read what she wrote about you, too. The letter arrived that afternoon. 20 pages. Single-spaced. Grandmother's handwriting. I sat in my car in the parking garage and read every word. She'd tracked everything. July 2020. Jason borrowed $3,000 for rent. Never repaid. September 2020. Jason quit his job at the marketing firm. No notice. Blamed his boss, but his boss called me asking if Jason was okay. November 2020. Jason borrowed my car for a week. Returned it with an empty tank and a dent he never mentioned. The entries went back 5 years. Every broken promise. Every manipulation. Every time he chose the easy path. Then the entries about me. January 2021. Ronald helped Jason move into his apartment. Took 2 days off work. Paid for the moving truck. Jason never thanked him. March 2021. Ronald paid off Jason's credit card debt. $8,000. Jason promised to pay him back. Never did. May 2021. Ronald let Jason stay in his guest room rent-free. Jason ate his food. Used his internet. Contributed nothing. The final entry was from December. 1 month before she died. Ronald is the only one who never asked me for anything. Who visited because he wanted to see me. Not because he needed money or favors. Who stayed loyal to family even when family betrayed him. He deserves this inheritance. Jason deserves nothing. I sat there crying in my car. Not sad crying. Relief crying. Someone had seen it. Someone had documented it. Someone had validated that I wasn't crazy for being hurt. Mom called me at midnight. I was already asleep. Her voice was frantic. Jason and Becca had a huge fight. She left, took her stuff and went to her sister's place. She's 8 months pregnant. Where else was she supposed to go? What happened? Jason hasn't been looking for work. Becca found out he's been lying about interviews. He plays video games until 3 in the morning. Sleeps all day. Won't help with anything. She's scared about having the baby with him. Mom's voice cracked. She told me things. About Jason. Things I didn't want to hear. But I need you to know. What things? He hasn't applied to a single job in 3 months. He lies about going to interviews. He told Becca he went to one last week, but she called the company. They'd never heard of him. He's smoking pot in our house. Your father found his stash. He screams at Becca when she asks him to help. Calls her names. She's terrified. There was a long pause. You were right. About everything. About Jason. About him taking advantage. About him never changing. I didn't want to see it, but watching him with Becca, watching him fail at being a father before the baby's even here, I can't ignore it anymore. I didn't say anything. What could I say? Your grandmother saw it too. That's why she left him nothing. I called her senile. I called her cruel. But she was right. I'm sorry. For pushing you to help him. For making excuses. For not believing you. It's late, Mom. I know. I just needed you to know. I see it now. Finally. Valentina and I spent the next month looking at properties, investment opportunities, ways to make the inheritance work for me long term. We found a duplex in a good neighborhood. Needed some work, but the bones were solid. 2 units. I could rent both and have steady income, or live in one and rent the other. Valentina walked through it with me, pointed out things I wouldn't have noticed. The water heater was new. The roof had been replaced 2 years ago. The foundation was solid. This is a good investment. You should make an offer. We celebrated that night at a nice restaurant downtown, the kind of place I never would have gone before the inheritance. White tablecloths, wine list thicker than a phone book. Valentina ordered in Italian. The waiter loved her. We talked about the future. My future. Not my family's drama. Not Jason's problems. Not Becca's pregnancy. My actual future. What I wanted to do with my life now that I had options. I'd been so focused on surviving the betrayal that I hadn't thought about thriving after it. Valentina raised her glass. To new beginnings. To building something that's actually yours. To leaving toxic people behind and finding peace. We clinked glasses. For the first time since Becca told me about the pregnancy, I felt excited instead of angry. The betrayal still hurt. Probably always would, but it didn't define me anymore. Jason's lawyer dropped the case 6 weeks after filing it. Trent sent me a formal letter confirming the will was settled. Cannot be challenged again. All legal avenues exhausted. The inheritance was mine free and clear. I bought a frame for grandmother's photo, the one from her 80th birthday. She was smiling. Really smiling. not the polite smile she used for most photos. I wrote a note on the back. Thank you for seeing clearly what I couldn't see, for giving me permission to stop being everyone's solution, for validating that I wasn't wrong to be hurt. I hung it in my new home office, right where I could see it every day. Valentina came over that night, brought champagne. We toasted to grandmother, to justice, to closure. She kissed me. First real kiss we'd had. It felt like starting over, like maybe I could trust someone again. Maybe not everyone would betray me. Maybe I could build something real with someone who actually valued me. September came fast. Mom texted me early one morning. Becca had the baby. Healthy boy. 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Named him after her father. She sent photos. Tiny fingers. Wrinkled face. Eyes closed. The baby looked like any baby. Innocent. Unaware of the drama that created him. Mom's text came through an hour later. Do you want to meet him? Your nephew? I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me was curious. Part of me felt nothing. The baby was innocent. Wasn't his fault how he came into this world. But I didn't owe him a relationship just because we shared DNA. I typed my response carefully. I'm not ready. Maybe I never will be. And that's okay. The baby deserves a good life. But I don't have to be part of it. Mom responded immediately. I understand. Take all the time you need. No pressure. That was new. No pressure. No guilt trip. No speech about family obligations. Just acceptance. Maybe she really had changed. Jason moved back in with our parents permanently. Becca refused to let him be involved with the baby unless he got a job and proved he was reliable. He'd been unemployed for 8 months. No prospects. No motivation. Just excuses. Dad called me one afternoon. Not about money. Not about helping Jason. Just to talk. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. I need to tell you something. Your mother and I talked. About Jason. About how we raised you both. We enabled him. His whole life. Every time he failed, we caught him. Every time he made bad choices, we fixed it. We never made him face consequences. And we expected you to do the same. That wasn't fair. Dad's voice was thick. You were right to cut him off. Right to set boundaries. Right to walk away. We created this situation by never letting him fail. By always bailing him out. I'm sorry. For pressuring you. For making you feel guilty. For not seeing what your grandmother saw. It took me a long time to figure this out. Too long. I appreciated the apology. Didn't fix everything. Didn't erase years of being the responsible twin while Jason got away with everything. But it was honest. That mattered. My boss called me into her office on a Friday afternoon. I thought I was in trouble. Instead, she offered me a promotion. Senior analyst. Significant raise. More responsibility, but also more freedom. I'd been doing good work. Exceeding expectations. They wanted to reward that. I accepted on the spot. Went home and told Valentina. She screamed. Literally screamed with excitement. Grabbed my face and kissed me. This is amazing. You deserve this. We're celebrating. She planned a whole vacation. Week in Colorado, mountains, hiking, getting away from everything. We left 2 weeks later. The drive up was beautiful. Trees changing colors, air getting crisp. We stayed in a cabin with a view of the peaks. No cell service, no family drama, no texts about Jason, no calls about the baby. Just us. Just peace. I hadn't realized how heavy everything had been until I put it down for a week. Being away from my family felt like breathing fresh air for the first time. Like I'd been holding my breath for months and finally exhaled. Mom texted me when we got back. Can we meet for coffee? Just us. Not Dad. Not Jason. Just me and you. I agreed. Curious what she wanted to say without an audience. We met at a place near her house. She looked tired. Older somehow. She ordered coffee. Didn't touch it. Just held the cup. I was wrong. About everything. About pressuring you to help Jason. About expecting you to share the inheritance. About making excuses for him. I watched him this summer. Really watched him. He's lazy. He's selfish. He's mean to Becca. He ignores his own son unless someone's watching. He plays video games all day and complains about how unfair life is. Your grandmother was right about him, and right about you. Watching you thrive while he fails made me realize she saw clearly what I refused to see. You worked hard. You were loyal. You helped everyone. And we took advantage of that. I took advantage of that. I'm sorry. This wasn't complete reconciliation, wasn't fixing years of dysfunction, but it was honest. Real. A starting point, maybe. I told her I appreciated the apology, that I needed time, that our relationship would never be what it was, but maybe we could build something new, something healthier. She nodded, wiped her eyes. said she understood. We finished our coffee and went our separate ways. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. I called my parents the next week, set up a meeting at their house. Jason wasn't invited. I showed up with a written list of boundaries. Valentina helped me write it, made it clear and simple. We can have a relationship. I want a relationship. But Jason is off limits as a topic. I won't discuss him. I won't help him. I won't attend family events if he's there. Mom sat across from me at the kitchen table. She looked tired, older than I remembered. She read through my list twice, nodded slowly. I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. This is what you need. Dad stood by the window, arms crossed, stared out at the backyard. Didn't say anything for a long time. Finally turned around. You're really doing this? Splitting the family like this? I'm not splitting anything. Jason did that when he slept with my girlfriend. But he's your brother. And I'm your son. You're asking me to pretend nothing happened. I'm asking you to respect my boundaries. Dad shook his head, walked out of the room. Mom reached across the table, touched my hand. Give him time. He'll come around. He needs to process this. 3 weeks later, Dad called. Short conversation. I've been thinking about what you said, about boundaries. I don't agree with all of it, but I respect it. We won't bring up Jason around you. Won't invite you to things if he's there. That's all I'm asking. 6 months passed. Valentina and I started looking at houses, used part of the inheritance as a down payment. Found a place with 3 bedrooms, one for us, one for an office, one for guests. The kitchen had granite counters and new appliances, big windows in the living room, a yard with actual grass. We moved in on a Saturday. My parents came to help unpack boxes. Mom brought sandwiches and drinks. Dad carried furniture without complaining. They walked through each room, admired the space, the light, the potential. Mom stood in the kitchen, looked around with tears in her eyes. This is wonderful. You've done so well. I'm proud of you. Dad nodded. Didn't say much. But he smiled. Actually smiled. They stayed for dinner. Valentina cooked pasta. We ate at our new dining table, talked about normal things, work, weather, plans for the yard. Nobody mentioned Jason. Nobody mentioned the baby. Nobody mentioned the inheritance drama. For a few hours, we were just family. Different family than before. Smaller, quieter, but family. My cousin texted me in October. Thought you should know. Jason got a job. Finally. Part-time at a warehouse. Loading trucks. Early morning shifts. Apparently Becca threatened him with child support court. Told him she'd go after his wages if he didn't start contributing. That got him moving. He's bitter about it, though. Tells everyone you ruined his life by not sharing the inheritance. Still blames you for everything. I didn't respond. Didn't need to. Jason's problems weren't my problems anymore. Later that week, I ran into someone who knew Becca. She's doing fine, living with her sister. Baby's healthy. She works part-time. Her family helps with childcare. Jason sees the kid every other weekend. Shows up late usually. Leaves early. She's better off without him full-time. Good for her. She made her choices. Had to live with them. But at least she was trying. At least she was taking care of her kid. That was more than Jason was doing. A year after my grandmother died, I drove to the cemetery. Brought flowers. Sat on the grass next to her headstone. Told her everything. About Valentina. About the house. About the promotion at work. About setting boundaries with my parents. About finally feeling peaceful. Thank you. For seeing me. For believing I deserved better. For giving me the freedom to build a real life. You knew Jason would never change. Knew my parents would always enable him. You gave me validation. Proof I wasn't crazy for being hurt. Wasn't selfish for walking away. The money helped. Obviously. But the real gift was knowing someone understood. Someone saw the truth. I sat there for an hour. Watched clouds move across the sky. Felt genuinely happy. Not pretending. Not forcing it. Actually content with my life. The inheritance gave me options. Freedom. Space to grow. But I did the work. Made the choices. Built something good. Jason was still struggling. Still blaming everyone else. Still refusing to take responsibility. That was his path. I had mine. And mine was better.